Good evening and welcome to Atlantic Center for the Arts. My name is Nancy Loudon-Norman. I'm co-executive director here along with Jim Frost. I want to thank each of you for being here today. I especially want to thank the artists in residency number 160. Thank you so much for an amazing 3 weeks. We're all looking forward to this evening. I'd like to thank our members and our board of trustees for supporting our mission and what we do every day. Thank you so much for your support. Jim's going to talk a little bit about the artists in just a minute. I just wanted to let you know of a couple upcoming events that we're having at Atlantic Center for the Arts. On Sunday, April 10th, is our big auction, Horsin' Around. Why is it called Horsin' Around? Because it was founded on a horse farm 33 years ago. So I hope you can join us at the New Smyrna Beach Municipal Airport for a great day of great food, great drink, great friends, and lots of bidding to support the programming that we do at Atlantic Center for the Arts. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Nancy. My name is Jim Frost. I'm the other co-executive director here at ACA, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to residency number 160, Inside Out. It's so exciting to start the new year off with a residency. It gets the staff re-energized, excited about the year. This has been such a fabulous group of artists. There's been a lot of interdisciplinary discussion, sharing, collaboration. I'm really excited about, and really excited about the artists that we've had. Working with David Shields, Josiah Mcelhinney, and of course the Dosti Group is such a pleasure for Atlantic Center. So professional, so warm, so giving, and really created such a marvelous spirit here on the campus for the last 3 weeks. So it's really wonderful for us to have you all here in our community, and of course it's wonderful to have the community out here supporting Atlantic Center for the Arts and what we do. So thank you all for coming tonight, and we're going to kick off the program right now. Here we go.
Hi everyone, my name's David Shields. I was the writer in residence in our little group these last 3 weeks. And I just wanted to start by thanking ACA. I just, as I've been telling people, they're going to be dragging me kicking and screaming from the grounds on Saturday. I've just had a completely delirious time, so thank you very, very much. We've all learned the map is not the territory, that when the British and French mapped out Africa for the Africans, they were mapping a map of their own minds, not actually mapping an actual territory. But we here were a little scared of the territory, at least I was scared of the alligators, and I was scared of the crocodiles, even though there aren't any crocodiles around. And I kept on passing that sign that said Shark City. So we got alligators, we had sharks, we had crocodiles, we had armadillos. So what our group did is that we went toward the map. We stayed away from the territory, and we tried to look at each other's work from the sort of 30,000 foot view, the proverbial aerial view. And so our writing group tried to ask the question, which I always think of as the sort of so what question. Why bother? Why bother doing what you're doing? Who could possibly care? Why do you care? Why does the reader care? And so we try to always ask that question. And so you'll be hearing from some of our group today, some other members of the group you'll see in the actual writing studio, and you'll be reading all of their books shortly, I'm sure. Very briefly, just to get you intrigued with their work, I wanted to just give the briefest of thumbnails for all of them to try to suggest how we were trying to get at the so what question. And just very briefly, sort of thumbnails of people's work. One writer, Jocelyn, is working on a book about growing up in and around a burlesque club in suburban Connecticut, and and trying to explore how lies and truth and veiling and striptease run as a kind of laser through most human relationships. Linda is writing about growing up in sort of the Space Coast and the ways in which the technology, which was supposed to save the country and save the planet, both saved and possibly destroyed her. David Chan is finishing a book on utopias, a variety of utopias across the country, and trying to ask himself what in him yearns for impossibly perfect spaces. Nadine is working on a book that cross-wires those very commonly cross-wired topics of fibromyalgia and Zora Neale Hurston. And she's trying to explore this idea of survival as a kind of performance art, of the sort of blood beneath the statue of stoic survival. Stephanie is working on a fascinating book about, I believe the title or working title is Men from a Broken Country. And it's an extraordinary investigation of both men from literal broken countries, but also men from psychically broken countries, and above all, a narrator whose brokenness drives her or draws her toward that brokenness. See, I talked about Jocelyn and Linda and David and Stephanie. Jay and Allison. Jay, very briefly, Jay is working on a sort of stand-up, a book about a stand-up comedian, a monologist, and he's trying to work on something that explores sort of comedy as a kind of mask for the deepest feeling. And Allison is working, we started with sex and we're ending with sex, of course. Allison is working on a book about sex work in which the sex worker thinks that she's saving her customers, but of course, though she doesn't know it, she's trying to save herself. The first reader tonight is Alison Williams.
There is absolutely no sex in this piece, sorry. So I also write travel memoir. I'm from Dubai, and this is a piece from an upcoming collection of travel essays called Keep Calm and Kill These Mimes. It's been a long 2 weeks stage managing a street festival in Macedonia. I'm looking up the night bus to Thessaloniki. Pane, my boss, looks over. Don't take the bus. It's not comfortable for you. I say, the bus is fine. Pane says, bus takes 2 hours from 2 a.m. Take my car. I am skeptical. Pane, civic leader / mafia don of Skopje, offers nothing without a price. Take my car to Strumitsa. Catch the bus there. Thessaloniki only 30 minutes, Pane says. You take my guys to Strumitsa on the way. There's the price. Gig tonight, big dance club, select, very popular. You hang out, you dance, tomorrow morning, easy bus to Thessaloniki. Why don't you just give them the car? Pane rolls his eyes. You drive my guys, okay? I take the keys. Two guys in white face, striped t-shirts, black pants, and red suspenders walk over. Mimes. Pane says, Voyo, Zlatko, Alison gonna drive you, you bring it back. They nod and smile, silently. They tell me, in mime, they're happy to meet me, let's go. Voyo and Zlatko pile in. A smell permeates the car, and I get why Pane wants me to drive. Skopsko, the most popular beer in Macedonia, the festival's big sponsor. Evidently, the mimes have been paid in beer. On the highway, I hear a carbonated hiss and check the mirror. Voyo and Zlatko have opened big bottles of Skopsko. They pour themselves generous cups and offer one to me. No thanks. Do you have open container laws here? They mime puzzlement, bewilderment, confusion. I don't know open container in Macedonian, or is there a problem, officer, or even the mimes were wasted when I got them, Your Honor. So I stay 5 under. Voyo points to the speedometer, tapping an imaginary watch. They act out wind whooshing their hair. I ignore them. 2 hours later, it's black post-communist countryside night. I've seen plenty of signs, all in Cyrillic. Voyo points urgently to a gas station. I pull over, hoping the clerk speaks drunk mime. They get back in the car. I pull back on the road. Okay, where? The mimes throw up their arms and widen their eyes. Didn't you get directions? Voyo holds up a plastic bag. They bought more cups. Guys, are we anywhere near Strumitsa? Zlatko nods. Okay, how close? Zlatko does something poetic with 5 fingers. 5 minutes, 5 kilometers, 5 days. I get it, you're mimes. Now you're lost mimes. We're all lost. And 2 of us in this car speak Macedonian when we want to, so one of them should get directions. Voyo and Zlatko exchange glances and mime a volcano erupting from their head. They rock imaginary babies and pat air kittens. I am not calmed. I want to kill them. I slam on the brakes next to a startled pedestrian. Ask him where the club is. The mimes squeeze together out the car window. The pedestrian gawks at our clown car. From the waist up, Voyo and Zlatko dance. They do the sprinkler. They raise the roof. They wave their hands in the air like they just don't care. Light dawns in the pedestrian's face. Select! He jabbers positively in Macedonian. The mimes give him imaginary thank you presents and slide back into the car. They make steering wheels go left, go straight here. We park behind an industrial building pulsing with music. Inside, the crowd is the usual Eastern European mix, smoking hot model quality girls and squatty, hairy, troll-shaped guys. There are spandex mini dresses. There are pink tube tops emblazoned with "fuck it" in silver sequins. I'm not sure that mime fits this demographic. The music changes, and Voyo and Zlatko emerge onto a small stage. They begin a classic Marcel Marceau-style corporeal mime act. And then, in a country where 40% of the population surveyed believe being gay is a crime that warrants a jail sentence, they play a love scene. Zlatko gives Voyo a flower. They look bashfully at each other, then look away while their hands find each other and hold on. Voyo proposes on one knee. Zlatko joyfully accepts. They threshold carry off stage. It kills. The crowd is rapt throughout the entire 2 mimes in a dance club situation and roars approval. I catnap in the dressing room through 2 more sets, cheers filtering through my sleep haze. I wake to Voyo wiping makeup off and barefaced Zlatko packing a box full of half-full Skopsko bottles. Voyo speaks. Good sleep? I nod. Okay, give me keys. Station is right, that way 3 blocks left, big square. I nod. They give me beery hugs and air kisses. They chorus, "Do vidanje." I probably won't see them later, but I step back and gesture to my heart, then towards Voyo and Zlatko, then encircling the empty air. Their laughter floats down with me to the street where the sun is rising, where I follow their good directions. Thank you.
piece called boofies, which is a Somali slang word that is used in the refugee camps. It literally is based on the word, the sound poof.
Can you talk into the microphone?
Sorry, you can't hear me?
Bend it towards you.
Okay, so the word is boofies, and it's based on kind of the sound of poof, 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 and it's big-headed dreams that people have in the refugee camps, thinking that they might eventually get out. And oddly, the word morphs when they get here to the United States, and often is indicating mental illness or disappointment, depression, adjustment problems. So this piece is about a student of mine who grew up in Dadaab refugee camp. He was there, saw his family killed when he was 5, was there for about 15 years. I met him when he was 20. A simple worksheet. After passing it out, my assistants and I wander around the classroom helping with grammar. I sit down with Jabril. We read the first question. What is your favorite color? Jabril writes, white. Looks to me for approval. That's good, I say. White's a good color. He grins. Next question. What is your favorite food from your country? He writes, my favorite drink is milk. I wonder aloud if this is milk from camels or goats or cows. He picks up his pencil and adds, from cows. Okay, he asks. Perfect. Question. What do you want to do tomorrow? I want to pray, read Quran, talk to people. You understand, he asks. Yes, I say. Very, very important. He taps the word Quran. I nod. Very important, he says again. I tell him, I understand. Question. What makes you happy? He writes, I see my wife and speak English and I'm healthy. It's good, he asks. Very good, I say. Just remember the apostrophe. He studies the sentence, then adds a tick above the M. Question. What is your wish? I'm rich. I chuckle. How about that? I say, that's my wish too. What else is your wish? He thinks a moment, writes, and I'm teaching English. Ha, I say, impossible. He gives me an angry look, his pride wounded. Not that you can't teach English, I explain, you just can't get rich teaching English. He glowers. It's a joke. He continues to glower. Never mind. I put a tick above each of his M's. Question. What makes you sad? Long pause. Finally he writes, I'm sick, and my family died. Okay, he asks. I'm blinking fast. Yes, I say, adding an apostrophe above his M. He looks at me skeptically. Okay? Okay. Question. What makes you angry? He looks at the ceiling for inspiration, then writes, I'm fighting, and I'm crying. I reach over and add the apostrophes. It's good, he asks anxiously. Yes. Really? Really. It's gray, gray, gray. One of those days in Columbus when you feel like you're living beneath the underbelly of a car. Jabril says he's not doing well. He makes a gagging noise and holds up 3 fingers. You vomited 3 times today, I say. He nods. I ask him what he ate. Milk. He listlessly accepts the lesson I am passing out. His eyes are unfocused, like 2 black buttons. I know he's not listening. We begin reading a true story about a man who flew hundreds of feet in the air by tying a bunch of balloons to his lawn chair. It isn't going over with anyone in the class. I can't tell if they don't believe the story, if they don't understand it, or if they just don't care. We slog on paragraph by paragraph. Suddenly, Jabril jumps out of his seat and throws his coat on the floor. Time for prayers. And I can stop trying to explain helium. Faduma turns around. Jabril, she barks, respect your teacher. Then she turns back to me and nods her head. Continuous. But Jabril ignores her and I call for a break. Watching him take off his shoes, I wonder where religious legalism ends and OCD begins. Afterwards, he wants to leave. Stay, I urge him. Teacher, I can't. Very, very headache. He points a bony finger at his throbbing temple. Are you taking your medicine? I know he's been prescribed Nexium for vomiting and Tylenol for his headaches. They both seem to work when he uses them. But he's inconsistent about filling the prescriptions and ambivalent about taking the pills, preferring to rely on Dr. Allah. He says, no medicine. Then maybe you should see the doctor again, I suggest, for a prescription. In case he doesn't remember the word prescription, I add, more medicine. No, doctor, he flicks his wrist. I'll help you make an appointment. He shakes his head, rustles around in his notebook, hands me a medical form from the health clinic next door. The print is very dense, with a lot of acronyms and abbreviations. It seems to be a synopsis of test after test after test. What catches my eye, though, is the text box near the bottom of the page. It's empty except for 4 words. Diagnosis, failure to thrive. I'm passing around newspaper photographs, and my students are trying to construct sentences that describe what is taking place in the pictures. I pick another clipping out of the pile in front of me. It is of a black man in fatigues aiming an AK-47. I hand the photo to Salado. She studies it. Man, she says, gun. I shake my head. Tell me more. Full sentence. Salado thrusts her arms out and points her finger. Squints as if she's taking a bead on Tuesday in our Days of the Week poster. That's right, I say, but what's the word? Salado gives up and hands the photograph to Ferduza. Ferduza looks at it thoughtfully. The man is... She pauses while she runs through her internal dictionary. The word isn't there. I don't know, she says finally. Aiming, I say. Aiming, she repeats. The man is aiming at... Ack? I ask. She nods emphatically. I'm expecting her to say gun, so it takes a bit for me to make the connection. Oh, I say, I don't know if I've misheard, if this is how they pronounce the word, or if this is how she thinks we pronounce the word. I write AK-47 on the board and point to the letters. We usually say AK, I tell everyone, like initials. Ferduza tries again. The man is aiming AK. The man is aiming an AK, I say, writing it on the board. They pass the photograph from person to person, repeating the sentence. When the photograph reaches Jabril, he jumps out of his chair as if burnt. I scrad, he says wildly. He is scared. He throws the picture to the floor and walks around in a circle, agitated. They're back again, my spatula hands. I fold my arms across my chest to keep them from reaching out. He snatches his notebook and bolts from the room. The classroom is eerily silent. I pick up the photograph and wonder what to do next. When I straighten, Ferduza catches my eye. With her index finger, she points to her ear, then twirls her finger in a slow, wide circle. You understand?
Hi there, I'm Linda Buckmaster. Is this a good sound?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm going to do a poem, but before I do it, I want to explain the title. I live up in Maine, and I grow a garden. And every year when we get the seed packages, you look at the directions, and the expression on there says, wow, after last danger of frost is past. Plant after last danger of frost is past. And what that means is it'll now be safe. That the seeds won't freeze, the ground will be warm enough, the little seedlings will do fine. So I've extended that meaning to mean that now the time of worries is past. There's nothing more to worry about, and we'll go on from there. So I have my trusty friends here. You ready? Okay, here we go. After last danger of frost is past, for my brother. After last danger of frost is past, after the final skim of ice leaves the surface of the pond, after the mirrors of dew disappear in the clear light, and the stilled grasses lie down for your palate, After the fox and the sparrow and the deer gather round you. After the winds cease and the seas calm and the struggles of this world slip away into the woods at the edge of the field, you will rest at last, rest. You will rest at last, rest. You will rest at last after last danger of frost is past. After the final skim of ice leaves the surface of the pond. After the mirrors of dew disappear in the clear light. And the stilled grasses lie down for your palate. After the fox and the sparrow and the deer gather round you. After the winds cease and the seas calm and the struggles of this world slip away into the woods at the edge of the field, you will rest at last, rest. You will rest at last, rest. You will rest at last, rest. You will last at last, rest.
That's cool. I'm Jeremy, and this is Chris. We're the directors of the Dosti Music Project. Many of you probably already know this. Dosti means friendship in Hindi, Urdu, and now English, at least here in Florida. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the program, and I also wanted to invite Iftikhar and Danish to come up. Because we actually just very randomly asked him like 2 seconds before we did this just to ask. It's been a very interesting project. As most of you know, the politics involved in India and Pakistan are really difficult. In our group, we don't really even talk about politics. All we really talk about is like music, like, are we going to do the B section in D sharp or D? D sharp, D, you know, I mean, they fight, you know, so there's like there was almost a thermonuclear war at one point in one of the rehearsals, but then we worked it out, it was cool. So maybe I'll let Mr. Sea Salt do a little interview of Iftikhar. Danish will translate. You down?
What was it like to experience a day without any talking and try to work on music, work on things with a group of people?
Danish, my brother, is here. Danish, will you please come here? And I'm not speaking English very well.
He does, he's modest about it.
तो जैसे सभी थे खामोशी से सारा दिन गुजारा था हमने उसमें पहले कभी ज़िंदगी में इतना खामोश रहे नहीं क्योंकि हमारी फील्ड म्यूज़िक की है तो म्यूज़िक में खामोश रहना म्यूज़िक में बात ना करना या एक दूसरे के साथ सर खपाना तो आपको पता है लगा रहता है.
He says we come from a tradition and from a field of being very loud and vocal about what we want and we're always talking about something or the other and it was one of the first times that we've experienced something like this.
फील ये हुआ था कि काफ़ी चीज़ों को गौर से देखने का, महसूस करने का, उनको अपने अंदर ढालने का, अपने अंदर महसूस करने का मौका मिला, क्योंकि अक्सर हम यही बातें करते रहते हैं आपस में कि यार बड़ा अच्छा दिन था, बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला उसमें।
Short sentences. Says this is the first time we got to see and feel and experience something like this before, and I mean, we talk about it amongst ourselves, and it's the experience is something. Hello, sorry. It's something that we haven't ever done before, which these guys provided us with.
जैसे लगा था जैसे नया पैदा हुआ था
It's
मैं,
like
बोलने
we're
के
born
बाद
again.
जिस वक्त बोला था उसके बाद लगा कि शायद मैं अभी पैदा हूँ।
Yeah, so like we were silent from like about breakfast till dinner, and at dinner we started speaking to each other again, and he says it was like being born again with a new set of thoughts and experiences.
So बहुत अच्छा है, यहाँ से जो भी सीख के जा रहे हैं बहुत अच्छा सीख के जा रहे हैं, आगे जाके अपने मुल्क में इंशाल्लाह ट्राई करेंगे, प्रैक्टिकल करेंगे, और जो यहाँ से सीख के जा रहे हैं कोशिश करेंगे अपने मुल्क वालों को भी सिखाएं।
He says we made lots of great connections here, met lots of new people, and whatever we learned from everyone, from whatever discipline they were in, is valuable to us to take back home and to apply it or to teach it to people there, or to introduce it to people there, because a lot of these ideologies haven't been seen back home.
Just now a question for you, Danish. You know, we just got back, excuse my parents, normally I'd wear a shirt for this event, but we just got back from a biker bar. We were performing at this, I'm kind of dressed for the part. We literally just got back from a performance at a biker bar where we were, as part of the project, we've been doing almost like pop-up performances in odd and random spaces. So yesterday we did one in a plane hangar inside where these mechanics were all working on planes, and at one point they actually stopped work early to listen to this very quiet classical Pakistani trio, which was really sweet. They loved it. They came today to the show as well at the biker bar. And so we did a show today as well, and so that's been part of the project, is just doing these shows in different spaces. But I wanted to ask you, I mean, part of being here, I mean, obviously Florida, you know, you don't see quite so many people of your ilk, your skin color. How has the experience been for you being in America and being perceived as almost like an other, someone who's, you know, maybe outside?
That's such a formal question. I mean, I don't. What do you want me to say? It's great. It's a lovely experience. It's brilliant. Everyone's great. But having said that, like every time that we go out and we meet people who have questions or who look at you, and like we went to Walmart the other day to get a SIM card or to buy some beer or whatever, and me and Ifti, and no, it wasn't Ifti, it was Tanzim, and a few brown people and Chris were at the counter, and we were all checking out. He bought some beer, I bought some beer, and he was in front of us in line, and we were clearly like in one group talking together. And you're looking at me like I shouldn't tell this story. Anyway, like so, the lady checking us out, she was speaking to Chris, and she's like, yeah, is there anything else you want with this? And he paid, and he stood there, and now he's talking to me and waiting for me to pay for my beer. And she's like, I'm gonna need to see your ID, and I was like, sure, I brought my ID with me, of course, like it's the law, of course, it's your job as well. It's like, no, I'm gonna need to see their IDs as well, the two other brown people behind me, because we were clearly in one group, and this one wasn't. And I've been in situations where, like, not that this one was bad at all, but where people come up to you and they're like, what are you doing here, or why are you here, or go back to where you came from even. But like, it's always valuable to have a conversation with people who have something to say to you about. I feel like I've lost my train of thought completely. I think being in Florida, I've never been here before. It's one of the more conservative places, I feel like. I feel like people are very open, and they'll have conversations with you, and they'll hear you out on your ideologies and where you're from and what you do. But there's also this little sense of, okay, what are you doing here?
I just wanted to just follow up on that. On the flip side, I think as musicians, we're constantly touring around the world. I mean, we're constantly having experiences where we maybe are the representative of a certain place or culture, and I think it's natural for humans to sort of look at people who are not looking like you. One of the things that surprised me most about doing these sort of pop-up performances has just been, like today in the biker bar, for example, we played this very not what you'd expect song in a biker bar, just very soft. There was the beautiful instrument that Debu plays, the sarod. And afterwards, we walked up to people and we said, well, what did you think of that? And people loved it. They were really, really touched by the music, and most everyone we talked to was really touched by it. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let these folks demonstrate some of the music they've been working on. We have Sunny on tabla here. Welcome, Sunny. We have Keita on violin. Welcome back to the stage. And Debasmita on sarod here. And bear with us, in classical, the classical tradition, there's a little bit of a tuning procedure, as you may know. So bear with us a second. The instruments are very fragile and need to be tuned properly to be performed. So these folks are going to tune for a second. I actually love listening to the tuning. It's quite a beautiful sound, so just bear with us a moment.
Maybe we'll just do a quick, our name, where we're from. I'm Jeremy, I'm from Wisconsin.
Hello, my name is Mohsin Abbas. I'm from Pakistan, Gujranwala. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Siva from India, Chennai, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks.
Hello, this is Debashmita. I'm from India. Thank you so much. It's been a great journey. Love you all. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, मेरा नाम इफ्तिखार अली है. I'm from Pakistan, Islamabad. Thank you.
I'm Tanzim from Pakistan, Lahore. Thank you so much.
I'm Sunny from Sialkot, Pakistan. And thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Nandi. I'm one of the Dosti staff. It's really been an incredible 3 weeks, so thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Everyone knows me. I'm Danish. I'm from Pakistan as well, Lahore.
Hello, I'm Zirak Ahmed from Pakistan, Karachi. Thank you all for sharing space. Everybody, really, it's been a pleasure. Thank you all. All the artists, all the writers, thank you.
I'm Abba. This is Chris's hat. And I'm originally from Virginia, but I'm living in Washington State now. And I also want to mention Keita, who's not present, but she's living in Ethiopia and is from California originally. So thank you guys so much for being here, honestly.
I just want to mention too, they gave just an amazing concert here last Friday night. Many of you were here, and they will have created a soundtrack, which will have a link to it. If you want to fill out a survey card out front, they'll be able to use your email to send you information about a link to the concert, so that you can hear it. If you were here, you'll get to hear it again. So thank you very much. I would like to call to the stage Josiah Mcelhinney, sir. Please join us.
Hi, everybody. My name is Josiah. I'm from Brooklyn. It's a hard act to follow, both that great series of readings and the performance by Dosti and the discussion of the deep meaning of friendship in this context. I would like to say that I feel a moment of pride. Right now, I would like to say that this evening was brought to you by the government. Without the State Department, we would not all be together. And so I would just like a little round of applause for our government. I would like everyone else here, I feel very grateful to be here, and so I would like to say thank you to all of you that make this possible to bring this community together, this temporary community. And I especially wanted to just call out the fact that something's obvious watching an audience, that it's a combination of people coming from different backgrounds, different mediums, different methods, and I think that this crossover of people not pushed together but offered a space to come together in their own way is very, very special, and you know, it's not something to be taken for granted, and it's so here's to ACA. I think artists are a funny bunch. We have a lot of doubts. One of the things that music has and writing has is a beginning of a language, many languages and shared languages that are just built into writing and in music. artists are supposed to strangely go up in some little attic room and invent their own language. And they're not sure if they speak it themselves or if anybody else will ever understand it. In light of that, like what we are often full of doubts, and so what I wanted to do was to try, when I had this group together with me of artists from Canada, from Great Britain, from New York, and from Mexico City, that how could we come together? All of these artists already speak their own language and speak the language of many types of art, but how do we speak together? So I just tried to do something which was to offer the opportunity that we would read together, we would listen together, and we would look together. There's a couple of images that kind of just are emblematic of what we did together as a group. This is a writer we've been reading, one of the greatest writers on art, maybe. This is Robert Valser, and I just read one quote from him. "We don't need to see anything out of the ordinary. We already see so much." So that was from somebody who felt like we needed to look very carefully around us. Can you go to the next slide? And we brought, I'll get to this in a second, but we would like to invite you to a closing party now of an exhibition we put together the first day, basically. I asked everybody to bring a piece of real art, but not their own art, just an art and what I mean by real art, I mean something that they saw as like having the aura of art around it, made by somebody else. And so we could talk about looking at art. Because it's very difficult to look at your own art and see it the way others see it. And so I wanted us to share the act of looking together. So this is us looking at one piece from the show. Next. This is another piece of the show, and this was one of my favorite moments, which is that where in sharing things together, you learn new things. I mean, that's an obvious statement, but again, not something I take for granted. Look back, it could be many things. It could be to take stock of your past, but it could also to look back at the other side of the room. Next. This is Leela looking back while I'm looking. Next. We are in a jungle now, and here is a potential creature, baboon in the jungle. Next. And this is a little motto: let's work together. You'll be casting bells, and I'll be painting icons, and somebody will be writing. So this is from a film about the faith in trying to continue to make art, to make bells, a great film called Andrei Rublev that we watched together. And my hope was in gathering together for these few weeks is to strengthen our fortitude to continue on. Next. This was a prism I saw. And then next. And here we are in this place. I would like to do two things. First of all, I'd like to invite you all now to two parties. One is at the writing studio, where I encourage you all to go and see and read and talk with the writers. And then as well, if you would come after that, or in between that, or back and forth, to the painting studio, the sculpture studio, the veranda, and the path. There's a closing party of our exhibition called Mixed Bag, which we opened the first day here, but now has a few new works made just for tonight. And also a performance at 9 o'clock, which will teach you how to look at art. And so can I invite all the writers and all of the visual artists up to give each other a round of applause, please.
Dosti thanked them, and we would also like to express our appreciation to Ivan, Nick, and Lexa for handling all the staff stuff. Thank you guys so very much.
So can we get the Dostis up here? Did they all take off already? They're already partying? Well, thanks, everyone. You'll catch up with everyone around and about, and be sure and check out the exhibitions that they just spoke of. Thank you for coming this evening.